Hi, Erin. Thank you so much for taking out the time to spend with me and sharing your experience of the 8-week sales mastery training with others out there who might be a bookkeeper, firm owner, and really sharing, what the changes have been for you just starting out, and going on this path, because I know you're more in the beginning stages. But before we start, why don't you share, who you are and where you have your firm?
Sure. My name is Erin Fox. I'm from Kansas City, and I've been a CPA for about 12 years now.
Awesome. So, what were the main issues or challenges that you were having related to your sales process or sales conversations in your firm before we met a few months ago?
Yeah. So really, up until that point, I had no sales process. I had been, kind of looking around at some other people who offered various types of resources, but nothing really spoke to me in the way that I needed to speak to the ideal client that I wanted. And so, really, up until that point, I had just kind of gone pretty dry with my sales process as far as meeting with somebody and just being like, okay, what do you need? Okay, I can handle that for you. So let's do it. I didn't really have a thought process much further than that. And so I wasn't really getting any of the clients that I really wanted because that process obviously was just winging it and wasn't working.
Yeah. And what were you most frustrated about? And like, how did you feel just kind of winging it and not getting the clients that you wanted?
Yeah, it was really frustrating going into a sales meeting and not really knowing what services I wanted to provide to them, not knowing what they needed from me, and then really what price um, I was going to tell them that it was. I mean, it was really just winging it the entire process. And so, um, really, it led to a lot of frustration after the sales meeting because I would allow them to sign up for what they needed, but it wasn't really what I wanted to offer. And so, even if they signed up for a price that at the time I felt comfortable with, in the end, I really resented myself and that client um, going forward. And so, it wasn't good for anybody.
Yeah. So, what made you decide to reach out for help and change your process?
Yeah, I'd gotten to the point where I had more clients than I wanted doing the work that I didn't want to do. And I knew that as a almost a business coach for my clients, I knew that I had to make the changes in order to fulfill the dreams that I had for my business. And so for me, that was really scaling back on the number of clients that I had and doing more fulfilling work. And I knew that if I just kept doing the same things that I was doing, I was just going to dig myself into a deeper hole and ultimately probably just get burnt out and just quit altogether.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't quit altogether and we crossed paths and you decided to invest in yourself and your growth and enroll in the 8-week sales mastery training. What do you feel was the most transformational thing so far that you've gained from our program and our 8-week sales mastery training?
Yes, I would say 100% it would be the confidence shift that I have. And I don't feel like I'm being salesy to people. We're having real conversations about their needs. And if it's something that I can help them with, then we can move forward and we're both in a good place. Versus
Mhm.
we get together and it's not somebody that I think is a good fit, I can just tell them that, hey, I don't think we're a good fit and send them down the road with some referrals. And I don't have to feel guilty about that, whereas I did before. And so I just feel like we're both in a good position. Once we've had that sales call and I can just feel confident in what I am presenting to them and the price that I'm asking for.
Got it. Yeah. And you've done a beautiful job at that. And really not only having the confidence, but having the structure in place to follow to guide you along that path. And you've done it beautifully. I'm curious, and I'm sure others are curious too. What fears or obstacles or hesitations did you have after I think you had your call with Denise about enrolling in the program?
Mhm.
Not knowing everything that you're about to learn and knowing that you have to make a change and you coach your clients. and are a business coach to them, but knowing that you needed that person as well. What were some of your hesitations or fears going into this?
Yeah, I mean, definitely how much is it going to cost? That's the first thing you think about. I had spent thousands of dollars on other programs
Mm.
that just ultimately didn't work for me. And so I kind of had this mindset of this is going to work because I don't have another choice. And so I kind of did go into it with some blind faith of you guys know
Yeah.
what you're doing. And based on the other stories that I had heard from your website of working for other people, I knew that I related to them quite a bit and knew that if it worked for them, then it could work for me. And so obviously trying to figure out what I wanted to do moving forward with what I wanted to invest in, I felt like this was the best option for me.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that and that you tried other programs. I didn't even know that, and spending thousands of dollars and putting that blind faith in. And I think that leads to kind of my next question, like what have been some of your short-term wins? I know you've had some financial gains, and really just how you feel other than the confidence piece and knowing exactly, how to price down where you want to be with your clients so you don't regret any of the work that you do. But what have been some of your short-term wins?
Yeah, so through this process, even just within the first, I would say 4 weeks of the class, I had implemented enough of the process to where I could, confidently go into those sales meetings and present a price to somebody that I didn't feel fearful of sharing with that person. I had the confidence to present that price and know that if they didn't take it, that I had kind of some weapons in my back pocket to um, you know kind of go and talk to them about some of their objections, but then
Yeah.
also knowing that like for the most part, when going through the sales process, the first person that I had talked to that I really wanted as a client, it almost just felt natural to have those conversations with that person. And the fact that they had trust in me already just from that first conversation. And so I was able to take a client that was only paying about $250 a month for their services and transform them into a $3,000 a month client. And so for me, that is really something that I know that, okay, it's worked. I can replicate this, I can duplicate this, and I can do it over and over again. So that way I know that I can be successful. Whereas before I never would have even have thought about charging that much. For my services. And so that's just really elevated my confidence in my business and the future that I can have for myself.
Yeah, and that's a huge percentage increase. So kudos to you and you having your new client and adding, let's say 3,000 a month, so 36,000 of
Yeah.
revenue, right? For the year. Just a few more of those under your belt and you'll be well on your way. Is there
Yeah.
anything else, Erin, that you'd love to share with other CPA firms, bookkeepers, and other firm owners and practitioners out there that might be considering enrolling in the 8-week sales mastery training, but are fearful, have invested thousands of dollars in other people's programs that hadn't worked, and going with that blind faith of like, do I jump 2 feet in? Do I not? How do I trust this? What else would you share with them, or any last words that you would like to say?
Yeah, it's interesting because I actually have, quite a few friends in my network that are also CPAs, EAs, and I've just going through this course have challenged them the same way that you and Denise have challenged me of to know your worth and really go for it. And I have told my friends about this course, and I'm trying to get them to hop on a call with you because it's just transformative for their business. And so when they complain to me about, oh, I'm still doing a tax return for $150 and, it's tax season and, I don't need sleep. Who needs sleep?
Ah,
I'm just constantly looking for that April 15th deadline. I'm like, it doesn't have to be this way. It can be better. And I think that's the one thing that I was looking for, of knowing that, yes, it can be better. It doesn't have to be this way. And so I think that's the
yeah.
biggest takeaway that I like to share with people.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Erin, so much for taking out the time. We look forward to talking to your friends too. So appreciate that in advance. And, thank you for taking out the few minutes to share with others who, might be on the verge of wanting to close their firm down, or like there's no hope. But I think you really do bring hope to others that you can shift the way you're doing it. And it just takes a lot of work up front, but in 8 weeks later, you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
So thanks again for taking the time out to share.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks.